As the thermal footage began to play, the scene transformed from a mere committee hearing. What we are witnessing is an encounter that pushes the boundaries of modern warfare technology. The image was recorded on October 30th, 2024, by an MQ9 Reaper off the coast of Yemen. In the video, a UAP is being tracked. Another MQ9 fires one of the world's deadliest weapons at it, a Hellfire missile. The moment the missile strikes the target, all known equations are shattered. The expected explosion never comes. On the thermal camera, the blazing, white-hot heat signature of the missile simply extinguishes. An instantaneous cooling occurs, as if the missile lost all its energy at once, simply vanishing. And the object it struck continued on its path as if nothing had happened. How is this possible? Let's take a closer look at the explanations. There are many versions of the Hellfire missile. One of the most interesting is the R9X, also known as the Ninja Bomb. This missile carries no explosives. Instead, it deploys a halo of blades upon impact to shred the target. It leaves no explosive signature, only mechanically destroying the target. If the missile used in this footage was this specific model, it would explain the lack of an explosion. But this does not solve the mystery, because the Ninja Bomb leaves wreckage when it strikes. Yet here, 3 identical objects appeared, and the target itself was not destroyed. This is not just an ordinary military recording. It is proof of a mystery that even humanity's most advanced weapons cannot explain. Furthermore, this footage was shared in an official session before members of the United States Congress. While Representative Eric Burleson was at the podium, seated directly behind him was David Grush, one of the most prominent names in UAP disclosure. Grush served for years at a high level within U.S. intelligence agencies. He is an expert on satellites, drones, and targeting systems. If this footage were a mundane test, a simple balloon, or an easily explainable phenomenon, he would have been the first to realize it and would never have allowed this footage to be brought before Congress in such a situation. But the footage was shared. This detail increases the gravity of the event exponentially. It means that ordinary explanations have failed. The real mystery begins in that instant recorded by the thermal imagery. The white-hot Hellfire missile, blazing in white-hot mode, suddenly goes dark upon impact. This should be impossible. Even if the motor stopped, its fuselage would still radiate intense heat. Atmospheric friction alone would maintain that temperature. For an object to instantly cool and become invisible completely contradicts the known laws of physics. The question that arises is this: where did the missile's energy go? Could the target object have instantaneously absorbed the missile's thermal and kinetic energy? Or was there a field around it that nullified the energy? This is not a military failure. It is a scientific phenomenon that we cannot explain. The most striking moment in the footage occurs just after the collision. 3 small objects appear around the craft, all identical in size, identical in brightness, and appearing almost simultaneously. When looking closely, a 4th, almost overlooked object is also seen appearing. You can see this 4th object in the area marked with a yellow circle. If this were ordinary explosion debris, the fragments would be of different sizes and scattered irregularly. Yet here, we have perfect triangular symmetry. This leads to only one possibility. What if what we are seeing is not random debris? What if, at the moment of impact, the craft deployed a deliberate mechanism, releasing 3 pods, like a kind of escape pod system? Or is this a different structure that was part of the main craft? We don't know for certain. But this formation makes conventional explanations difficult. Of course, one of the first explanations that came to mind was the balloon theory. In recent years, surveillance balloons, attributed to China, have been seen in U.S. skies, causing major controversy. This led many to think the object in the footage might also be such a balloon. But a few simple facts debunk this possibility. Balloons do not appear this bright on infrared cameras because their surfaces radiate low heat. When struck by a missile, balloons should be instantly obliterated. But here, the object shows no effect. Furthermore, 3 identical objects are not consistent with the structure of a balloon. In short, whatever this object in the footage is, it is definitely not a balloon. So, have we never seen anomalies like this before? Actually, we have. Footage recorded over Aguadilla, Puerto Rico, in 2013 became one of the most intriguing UAP recordings in history. A U.S. Department of Homeland Security aircraft recorded a disc-shaped object with its thermal camera. As the object traveled over the ocean at 120 miles per hour, it suddenly plunged into the water. But there was no splash, no deceleration. As if the water had no density at all, it continued on its path at the same speed. Even more striking, at one point, it split in two. 2 separate objects continued on their own paths. Years later, the Pentagon acknowledged this footage as real and unidentified. Now let's look back at the new footage from Yemen, an object that separates into 3 pieces after a collision, an object in Aguadilla that split in 2. 10 years separate these 2 events, but the emerging motif is identical. Unidentified objects that break apart, divide, but are not destroyed by impacts or maneuvers. Can this be just a coincidence? Or are these recurring signs of the same phenomenon? We have a series of anomalies. A video entered into the official records of Congress, a missile whose energy instantly vanishes, 3 identical objects appearing post-collision, technical details that debunk the balloon theory, astonishing similarities to the Aguadilla incident, and the failure of even secret weapons like the ninja bomb. In truth, this is not the first time this has happened. According to shocking congressional testimony from George Knapp, there were 40 encounters with UFOs during the Soviet era. 3 Russian pilots opened fire on these unknown craft. The result? 2 of the 3 planes stalled in midair, fell, and both pilots died. From that day on, the Russian military command changed the order. If you see a UAP, let it go. Do not engage. All of this tells us one thing. We are facing an unidentified phenomenon in our skies. Perhaps a technology that surpasses all of humanity's collective engineering knowledge. In that case, the real question is this: where are these objects truly coming from? The depths of space? The dark chasms of our oceans? Or is it possible they come from another dimension? A scenario just as strong as any other? One thing is certain. If even our most advanced missiles cannot stop them, then understanding this phenomenon is no longer just a matter of curiosity. It is an imperative, directly related to the future of humanity. Share your own theories with us in the comments, because the ideas that come from you are the most valuable part of our effort to solve this mystery together. If this journey has given you a new perspective, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell, because there are far greater secrets still waiting to be discovered. See you in the next mystery.